Hi, so in this video we're going to talk about file permissions in Linux. The last video we talked about getting started with Linux in a semi-advanced approach. And this video I just created a folder called permissions, and I created some files by using touch, and I'm listing the files on the screen right here and showing where am I standing. It doesn't really matter what my current working directory is, but it is nevertheless my directory. So we can see to the files right here, and just to mention a few things, I just created them like 5 minutes ago. Actually, my clock is 8:05, so it's a 5-minute time since I created them. File A, file B. The group both is Carly and the user is Carly, which is also the user I'm logged in with. And they have 0 bytes in size, which basically means they have nothing inside of them. And we can see the access rights for the files, and let's just recap that. The first 3 access modifiers, whatever you're going to call them, is for the everyone, so everyone can read the file. The last, the middle 3 is for the group, that is everyone which is in the group Carly can read it, and the last one, set, 3 of them, is for the owner, which is also Carly, which is me. I can read write. Now, since the files is just normal files, they are not being given with a X, so they're not executable. So it's really weird that you can execute files if they are just text files. But let me just give a little background here. Okay, so everything in Linux is a file. So if you, for example, put a Python script inside of file A, you would need to execute it in order to run it. Then you need to give it an executable .x in order to execute it. Now, if you created a bash script, it's called .sh as the extension, then you would also need to have it as a X to execute because you're executing files. Now, executing files, not really in the scope of this video, but I'm just trying to, give a little background here and there. So you say like, but what about executing? So maybe you will take this as a hint to go and read further about stuff. All right. So we're gonna talk about permissions one more time, and we have the file A here, and we can of course open it. So let me just be square. I'm gonna use the editor called Nano, and there are many different ones. I think this is the most easy one to use. It is not that liked, I guess. People prefer other editors sometimes. I don't really care about preference. I use Nano. It's perfect for me. So write Nano and write file A, and then you can just press enter for now. And then you're gonna get inside this chumpy looking editor, and you can go ahead and write hello, I am, and so on. And I haven't done anything. I'm just writing on the keyboard directly, no pressing any buttons. Now, how you're gonna get out is using your control button, push that down, and press the O. So that is control O is then you wanna write the file, and it says yeah, press enter, and then you're gonna exit the editor, the control, and then X. Boom. If you did control X without doing control O first, you will be prompted with the question, do you wanna save the file or not? Just like any normal editor would do. Now we put something in the file. Let's go ahead and clear the screen and list the content. I'm gonna do it correctly. Right then, and now we can see that since I put some stuff inside my file A, it's now 15 bytes in size. Now, sometimes you would like to see the content of a file. Okay, so if it's a really big number here, then you maybe not want to output everything in the file. It would span the screen, right? Let's assume it's a 15 pages essay. Do you want to output everything on the screen? I don't think so, but maybe you would. So the way you output everything from a file is using the command called cat, and just write file A, and then it's gonna output everything from the file just like that. If the file contained like a load of text, the cat would say, well, I'm gonna show everything to the file. What you're gonna think now is probably, what does this command mean, and what is it, and stuff like that. And you're thinking about commands. What are the meaning of it? There is a way in Linux that you can go ahead and type man, and that is the manual. It's not a bad thing to learn. So it's gonna go ahead and write man, and then I want to see the manual for cat. That is where you do it. Press enter. Then you're gonna inside the manual here. You will see the the manual for sorry for that, the cat command, and you can see it concatenate files and print them on the standard output. That is, short for cat, and it got a lot of arguments you can add to it with different kind of dash something. And just to be clear, you can scroll in this with the mouse, and you can also use the keyboard and stuff like that. And if you want to go out, you can just go ahead and press Q for quit, and then you're gonna get out of it. So if you want to read the manual for a specific command you're using, you could just go ahead and type man, and a space, and then the command. That's it, really. Okay, so but sometimes you would also like to just output the some part of the file. Let's assume that the whole file is this whole screen, so you only want to have the top here output. Now, in order to do that, you type head file A, and it's going to take only the head part of the file. Now, it is of course a little difficult for you to see in this particular example because we have only this amount of text in the file. Let's go ahead and nano inside of it one more time. And now, let's go ahead and I'm just using the keyboard right now, the shortcuts, home, back, end, whatever. And we can go ahead and write some numbers now. I'm gonna do that just for lines. So as you can see, we have different lines, Control O, Control X, out of the file. And then we're gonna cat it one more time. Now you can see that we are getting to 12. So I don't remember, was 12 the last one I did? I think it is. Let's do 13. And it seems my editor. Oh yeah, there we go. I'm running on a low privileged machine right now, so I'm sorry for the speed. So now we have 20, and we're gonna. Oh, I said cat before. Let's do head, and then see. We're only gonna get the first 10-ish lines. So using the command head is basically only showing the very first part of the file. The reversed one of head is called tail. So we can write tail, file A, and then you're gonna get the reverse part of it. By reversed, we're basically just meaning we're getting the last lines instead of the first lines of the file. This is a particular nifty thing in order to output a file content without spamming the screen. So if you're going to clear the screen now and type cat file A, you will see a lot of text, and it's going to be larger and larger and larger. Now we're talking about permissions, and I haven't said a thing about permissions yet. And the reason for that is because I really want to go ahead and create a file first. So we have the file, and now we want to try and change the permissions so we cannot do stuff to it. Now we can write to it because we are the owner, right? So let's go ahead and say I want to retract that access. So it's chmod, which is change modifications. I want to say -w. I want to do that on file A. I can do that without any prior, sudo command or inputting my password because I am the owner. So one more time, just to show to you, the W is now removed. So let's talk about how that actually worked. So we did the chmod, which is the change modification command in Linux, and we retracted with the actual minus. Now you're probably gonna think right now, is the plus then the add? Yes, it is. So if you wanna add back the write command, the write access modifier for this file A for me, then you're gonna do the same command just with a plus. Now you might say, but hey, we're the owner. Can we still write the file? Well, okay. So let's go ahead and do nano file A. And first of all, right off the bat, you're gonna see right here down below, it is unwritable. You cannot write it anymore because you've removed the write access file. So in Linux, writing to the file can be also removed as a permission as the owner. So, but you're the owner. You can basically just say, well, I want it back. So plus W, file A, ls tag al. Now we're back again. So now we know when you do chmod and you do plus or minus W, we remove the write from the owner part of the permission stack. So now you're gonna guess if you do the same thing for, let me just go upwards with the arrows. If you do the same thing for the read, so minus R, I can no longer read it. So if I'm gonna go in and set cat file A, you have permission denied. Now, what you see now is basically that everyone got removed read. And you notice that hey, okay, so really, this is like a big command that removes from everyone, but why didn't it remove write before from the other ones? Okay, because it didn't have write. So let's go back one more time and say change mod plus R file A, and now we're back to reading. But when we added on the write, we didn't add the write for the other ones as well. And that was because we are accessing it as ourself. Writing is a bit more serious than reading. It's going to be the easy explanation for now. So what you can do, for example, is you can go ahead and say chmod minus read write to file A. I need to spell correctly first of all. Minus read write to file A, and then lsal, and now you see a beautiful line. We can do nothing. No one can do anything to this file. Not even the system can do anything to this file. Now let's go ahead and then clear the screen and do chmod plus write to file A, and let's ls tag al all of it. It is still ourself. So if we want to invoke the write access modifier for the group, the next three here, now the way we can do that is say chmod and then g plus w file A and ls tag al, and now we can see that the g the group got write access. Now that is a really good way for you to give access rights. But what you can also go ahead and try and do is stuff like chmod and then do O for users, W, and then file A, AS tag AL, and then you're going to end up with everyone else can now also write the file. So you can give away access rights to yourself by just doing chmod and then adding or removing the W or the R. We have no X, but you know, it's the same thing. Just write X, W. You can mix them, by the way. You can also say like chmod plus everything and then file A, and you're gonna see that now everyone can basically do everything. Now, because it's something you're gonna wrap yourself around the head around a few times, because you see that it's particularly inconsistent the way it works, right? So there are other ways to control the access rights a bit more strict, and we already talked about that. Scroll over a bit, and that is by actually doing the G when you're gonna do something for the group, the O for the owner, and you can use the U for the owner. So let me clear the screen. Okay, so I know a bit much information right now, but you're gonna follow. Plus U only for the owner, not plus U minus read write execute file A ls tag al, and now we can see we only removed permissions from the first three, the first group, which is the owner. So U is owner, G is group, and O is users. And I know it's like I said, everyone, but that is users. Users is everyone, so just remember that. All right, so permissions wise, we can control stuff. And let me just clear one more time, and let's do ls tag al. Let's go back and do, I want read plus read write execute, just plus read write on my file A, and I then want to change mod minus read write, no, just write and execute on file A, and it was forgot me. I need to put on the group. There we go. And then everyone else. Whoops. There we go. So now I should be back to something as before, and now we only need to add on the, there we go, then clear screen, and now we can see that we are back to the original. Okay, so was that easy? Okay, so it is the manual way of you controlling the access rights, and you saw me struggle. I was like forgetting, like, okay, so adding read and removing write, and so that is not the best way. Wouldn't it be nice if there was a way that you can just easily provide access modifiers to all three groups simultaneously and control all of them read write execute at one time with one line of commands? There is. And let me just show that to you right now, because it is not that difficult really. There are let me just open a text document because it's gonna get a bit texty. Let me copy paste this. I have the cheat sheet. So there are ways for you. So we have chmod, and what you really need is think this way. So access and then file. That is the command we're gonna fill out. So you're gonna say, okay, there's a file I know. Let me just write a new command here. So chmod. We know that. Let me just write it. Come on, please. Yeah. So we do not know the access yet, but we know the file is called file A. What I want is that I want the owner to have read write. I want the group to have nothing, and I want everyone else to have nothing. Now, in order for me to do that before, I need to run 3 or 4 chmod commands, because one of them is overriding the other. I could probably do it in a smarter order, but I have to remember it, and okay, that is prone for human errors, and this is security in mind, so I'm gonna say this way. I wouldn't do it like that, unless it's you are a hacker or something that don't really care, right? But the way you're gonna do this is say, okay, so read and write. Read is 4. Okay, so we all have line numbers. Let me just. So, whoops. Read is 4, and write is 2. 4 plus 2 is 6. So, let's go ahead in our access and put a 6. The next one is the group. We want nothing, 0. And the others, nothing, 0. That is our command. 600. And you probably say, but listen. Okay, so if I wanna give the group read now, then what do you write? 640, because read is 4. So let's start with this. Let's go back to the terminal right now. Okay, chmod 600 file A. What did we expect? So read write, nothing, right? Let me just write nothing one more time, because that is what we did. Okay, read write, nothing, nothing. So as I told before, if we went back here, I want to give the group read, do a for, press enter, go back, and now the group can read. That's a lot more easy to do compared to all this chmod plus and minus, you forgot half of it. This is what Linux permissions is all about. It is just so easy. Now there are different ways for you to think about this in a way. So I've created a cheat sheet for you. Let me just do that in a new file. So think about this way. If you want to, let me just get these out so you don't have the line numbers triggering your mind. So if you want to give read, write, execute for one particular group of them, it's a 7. But as you notice, that is the same as adding the 3 numbers. So if you can memorize the different kind of combinations of these, well, basically you can say, but I want a read and execute, and read and execute. Execute is 1, read is 4, that is 5, which is also the same right there. That's a cheat sheet. So you can go ahead and say everyone should have read and execute. That would be 5, 5, 5. Let's go back and try now. So chmod, file A. And now everyone have read and execute on the file. Now, the thing is, and this is the last thing I'm going to mention about permissions right now, and this is because you probably think about it. In the last video, we talked about sudo, which is for super admin do. Let's go into the man page of sudo, and as you can see, it says execute a command as another user. Now, in Linux, when you do sudo, you primarily want to do that as a root user. We are saying primarily. So the root user basically allows you to do, let me get out of this, to do whatever you like to do, because root kinda don't need permissions, right? But that's not really true. So you probably ask, well, if I was a super admin now, could I then write to this file even though that is permissions removed? No one can write, so can I do that by doing sudo nano file A, and you're prompted to put in your password for the user, and you see that you want to do that, so you add something in the top. It said new, control A, control X, and now you're gonna do hit file A, and you see that it says new. So did it magically change the permissions of the files? No, it did not. But because we are doing it with sudo and we are putting in the password, then we are allowed to read the file, write the file. There is a way for you to see if you write sudo tag L. This is again a bit out of scope for the video, but let me just lay down an egg for you to go down the path. It's not a rabbit hole, but it's the path for you to go down. You will see this line here called user Kali may run the following commands on Kali. Alright, so I am the user, and as a user, if I'm that user, I may run everything. As long as I do type sudo in front. This is because, and this is highly unusual on Linux systems, but because this is a virtual machine I installed, this is the way it's gonna be written. In most occasions, it will have something different there, probably something with no pass or pass, and then a certain path, not password, but path, to a certain binary file or command we can execute that we are specifically given as a privilege to execute as the owner of the system, for example. And this is a whole nother story which is leading to a different kind of talk that is not for this video. But now that we got this far, I'm gonna end the video and say that I really hope you learned something about Linux permissions today. And if you have any questions, don't hinder yourself, just put them in below. Please consider liking the video, it's gonna help me a lot. Also, if you have any questions about other stuff, don't hesitate to search my channel and ask the question on the particular video. I will answer any questions I get as fast as I can. Have a really nice day and see you online.